Hello and welcome to today's Wellness and Hospitality LinkedIn Live. Today I'd like to talk about the 4 different types of wellness offerings your hotel can have, how you can know which one your hotel is, and what you can do to move yourself along the scales. So today I'd like to talk about, also introduce a concept of the realisticity versus potential graph that I talk about in my book, The Wellness Asset. But I will be putting up in a screen right now to be going in more details, as it does help to bring the whole the 4 different types of wellness offerings out there into perspective. So what exactly is the realisticity versus potential graph? It is a measure that tells you the potential of your wellness concept and how realistic it is to implement. It maps out the realisticity of the project against its potential in 4 quadrants: risk, opportunity, liability, and asset. So those are the 4 different types of wellness offerings you have. And I designed the realisticity versus potential graph because, in my experience, I found it pivotal to consider both the realisticity as well as the potential of any wellness project I'm working on. So, for example, a wellness concept may be realistic to implement. For example, you have an owner or a proprietor that has no cash problems, no funding problems, but it lacks the potential because perhaps the project is in the market or has a target audience that is not aligned with the concept you want to implement. And vice versa, it may have a great potential. You have the right ingredients for the market, the target audience, but you have a concept that is not very realistic to implement. That could be a lack of funding, a lack of space. So let's take a closer look at this graph. On the y-axis, we have the potential. So the potential of a wellness project is related to the soft aspects of your business: your who, your what, your why. That is the vision, your mission, and values. And on the x-axis, we have the realisticity. So the realisticity of the project is related to the hard aspects of the business: the how, the systems, expertise, facilities, management, funding. And concepts in risks, that is the bottom left quadrant, both score low, score low in both realisticity and potential. So they're unrealistic to implement, and don't have the potential to become important revenue or value contributors. And in many cases, they don't make business sense for the hotel to operate. They lack the necessary hard attributes, that is systems, staff, training, the operational know-how, and the soft attributes, the purpose, vision, mission, to be successful. And your concept is a risk if you have neither the soft aspects, so that's your who, your what, your why, nor the hard aspects, the how. And concepts and opportunity, that is the top left quadrant, have potential but are not very realistic to implement without being compromised. So hotel wellness offerings and opportunity have high revenue generating potential in the long run. They have the necessary soft aspects, that is a coherent vision, mission, and a well thought out concept, but they score low on realisticity. And your concept is an opportunity if you have all these soft aspects in place, so your who, your what, your why, but you don't have the necessary hard aspects, your how. And concepts and liability, that is the bottom right quadrant, are realistic to implement, but in their current state lack potential to become an important revenue or value generator, and in many cases they generate losses. Your concept is a liability if you have all the hard aspects in place, your how, but you haven't drilled down on your soft aspects, your who, your what, and your why. And finally, concepts and assets, so the top right quadrant, rank high both in realisticity and potential. They have the potential to succeed and are realistic to implement. They have a coherent vision that aligns with their ideal guests' needs and the right system, talent, and management structure to consistently deliver remarkable experiences. And concepts that fall under asset are very planned. They go beyond the spa and thus seamlessly integrated into the hotel's DNA. And you know your concept is an asset when you have both the soft aspects, that is the who, the what, and the why, and the hard aspects, the how. But now, talking in layman's terms, what exactly is the outcome of a wellness asset? What does it mean to have a wellness asset? When I work with my clients, I tell them that I'm obsessed with three outcomes when it comes to having a wellness asset. The first one is proud people. And most bold hoteliers, when they find themselves in these situations, ask themselves the question, how successful am I in attracting and keeping the best talent? And if we look at this scale from 1 to 10, we can see that those in liability report that they're failing miserably at attracting and retaining staff. Those in risk report an uphill struggle, while those in opportunity say that they're barely managing, while those who have an asset have unwavering confidence in the ability to attract and keep the best talent. The second outcome is transformative experiences. And most hoteliers ask themselves, how shareable are my guests' moments of truth? And those who have a wellness liability, when they put themselves on the 1 to 10 score, in liability, they have guests that report deeply disappointing experiences. And those in risk report fragmented encounters from their guests. And those that have an opportunity have guests that are happy with their experiences, but they don't tend to be different. They're just one of another, the acceptable vanilla. And those that have assets have guests that report truly cherishable moments, because these hoteliers have managed to create truly unique and memorable moments that these guests can share, and these experiences become transformative experiences for their guests. And the third outcome is stellar performance. Here, many hoteliers ask themselves, how commercially sustainable is my hotel? Not just now, but long into the future. And if we map it out on the 1 to 10 scale, those that have a liability say that they're having literally an uncontrollable hemorrhaging with their business. Those in risk report barely breaking even. Those in opportunity report a hopeful ROI. They do have some form of return on investment, the typical hotel spas that represent 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue, whereas those that have an asset experience exponential growth. Now, while I have talked about my realisticity versus potential graph and the four different types of wellness offerings, risk, liability, opportunity, and asset, I thought it was also very important to talk what it means to have a wellness asset. What are the key outcomes? And you know you have a wellness asset when you have proud people, when you offer your guests transformative experiences and you're experiencing stellar performance. And knowing where your wellness offering lies on the realisticity versus potential graph, you can also map that out on these scales, where if you are ranking anywhere between 1 to 3 when it comes to either proud people or transformative experiences or stellar performance, you know you have a liability. And what you can do is slowly work up the scales. If it's from the proud people, going up to uphill struggle or barely managing or unwaveringly confident. So knowing where you are within these scales will help you get to the dark green side. So I did mention that this session is going to be very, very short. And the idea was literally to talk about the four kinds of wellness offerings, my realisticity versus potential graph, and to actually know where in these scales you are, and then how easily you can actually move up the scales knowing where you are at this moment. So I hope today's very quick session has been informative. If you would like to learn more about where your hotel wellness offering is on the realisticity versus potential graph, in the comment section, I will be leaving a link to my Essence scorecard. So it's a perfect tool that literally only takes 5 minutes for you to fill out. But at the end of the 5 minutes, you get a detailed 36-page report, which kind of highlights where your wellness business is today and where your opportunities for improvement lie. Wishing you all a fantastic day. Take care.